He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
I remember tying the bedsheet around my neck. I was thoroughly convinced that if I ran fast enough, it would fill with air and I could fly. Of course, there were a lot of things I believed when I was 7 that I just don't believe anymore. There were a lot of dreams that I had when I was 7 or 9 or 10 that I don't have them anymore. I don't believe that they're possible anymore. And some of them I've just straight up given up on. Others, hard, cold reality set in. I used to jump off the roof of our house with a bedsheet around my neck thinking I could fly. Today, if I jump off the stage that's more than 18 inches high, I wonder if my knees are going to let me keep walking the rest of the day. Sometimes the dreams crash with reality and we have to give them up, and sometimes we allow somebody else to come along and steal them, and that's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. And I know that you had dreams like that too. I know that at one time you believed you could do anything you set your mind to. In fact, you probably set your mind to do some things that were downright silly, dangerous, destructive, impossible, unimaginable. Who really has the notion that they can build their own rocket? That's the thing of governments and like world superpowers. There are small governments all over the world who have not yet built a rocket. What one individual thinks, I'm going to build a rocket and I'll make it pointier because pointier rockets are scarier. Have you seen the interview with Elon Musk when he talks about why the shape of the rocket looks like it does? Yeah, because of a movie where they said, make it pointier. It makes it scarier. Who cares? It's a rocket. Better question. Why didn't you build a rocket? Why didn't I build a rocket? Why was it Elon Musk and not 14 million other people, 300 million people in America? Any one of us could have built a rocket, but we didn't. Why? Why did we not? Is it because we gave up on a dream? Or because we never had that dream to begin with? When I was in high school, Michael Sievers and I actually built our own little working model of the NASA shuttle. Won awards with it. Never built one. I went to school for electronics engineering. When I gave up over a girlfriend, my lab partner went on to work for Martin Marietta. In fact, worked on the Patriot missile from the best of my knowledge and helped fight the war in Iraq against the Scud missiles that were being launched at our guys. I never pursued rockets or rocket science after that. In fact, I gave up on electronics when that girl broke up with me that day. I still have all my books. I was still working toward my degree until that day, but I was so emotionally wrecked when she said it's over that I failed my final exam. I went from a 3.82 GPA to a 2.2 GPA with one test. And I gave up. That's what caused me to join the Air Force and become a firefighter. I was originally signed up to go in for EOD with Electronics Ordnance Disposal, but I acted like an idiot in my younger days. I didn't have a whole lot of discipline in my own life, and so not only did I throw away dreams, I threw away a lot of possibilities. I had 13 moving violations on my record by the time I got to basic training, at 19. Yeah, by the time I was ready to go into the military, my driving record was so bad they couldn't give me a top secret security clearance. Otherwise, my electronics engineering background would have sent me to EOD, explosive ordnance disposal. Apparently not the destiny, not the path I was supposed to be on. But I wonder how many other people have allowed someone to speak into their life and go, well, that's not possible. And it caused them to give up on a dream. I wonder how many people went through an emotional turmoil in their life, like a broken relationship, and it caused them to give up on a dream. I wonder how many people have moved into a new direction, a new destiny, a new change of course in their life plan, and they gave up on a dream. I remember the first science fair that I won in high school, not the one with the space shuttle, but I built what I called the car of the future. This car ran on converting steam into water and back to steam again, and using the pressure of that conversion, that molecular change from steam to water to steam to water to steam to water, to propel the car. And it used the brakes of the car to create the energy to charge the batteries that created the heat. And a lot of people thought it was very fascinating. I had physics, college scholarships offered for physics because of that experiment. But on the way out the door, after the science fair, a local radio guy said to me, you know, if you pull this off, you will prove that one of the smartest men in history was wrong. What makes you think you're smarter than him? I threw the project in the dumpster behind the school. Never pursued it for another second. I walked away from a dream. Does it mean I'm not capable? I don't think so. Does it mean I don't have the potential in me to do those things? I don't think so. But did I give up on them because someone else spoke into my life that possibly, that's just too big for you? That's too much for you. What if those broken relationships had stopped Elon Musk? Would we have electric cars to the quality and capacity we do now? What if those kinds of negative speaking, negative belief about you had been a part of his life? Would we have the rockets? What about Virgin Airlines? What about Virgin Records? What about Virgin Space? Well, how many of these things would have never come to pass if someone had spoken negatively into their life and said, you're just not capable. You don't have what it takes. You're not the guy. You're not the girl. You can't pull that off. See, the question at the title of this podcast is, dreamers and leaders have a direct relationship, but what is the relationship? Well, the answer is pretty clear in my experience, because I was a dreamer early on. I really thought I could sing. I would sing at the top of my lungs. I would stay in the backyard writing songs, making up words that went on forever. The same song, the same melody. I'd just keep adding words to it. I'd start it over again. I would add a new line or a new chorus. I'd repeat the chorus over and over and add a new verse. Some of those songs had 57 verses. 2 hours of singing, just expressing my heart. And so my mom came out at 2 o'clock in the morning and screamed at me and said, nobody wants to hear that. Oh, I've competed in speaking competitions. I've competed in singing karaoke competitions, only once. I gave up on the singing part. I tried out for a church, and they told me, you're not going to make the cut. I mean, don't be too embarrassed, because there were a whole lot of people in this room. There were like 400 people that tried out. And the guy who was leading the tryouts, he said, this is not, Dancing with the Stars. This is not American Idol. This is not Who's Got Talent. That's not what this is. This is a real opportunity for a paid position on our worship team. And some of you here have been told all your life that you can sing, and whoever told you that was lying. And some of you have been singing in every church you've ever been in before, and you're probably on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like a 4 or 5, or maybe even a 6. And with some discipline and some practice, you could be a 7 or 8 pretty easily. And some of you are a 7 or 8. You've like led worship. You've been on staff in other churches. You've been around. But I need you to know that the people on our platform here, they're 9s, 10s, and 11s. These are people who have recording contracts already. They can not just sing. They can write the music. They can harmonize with a lawnmower. They can play an instrument while they're doing it. And they probably already have a recording contract here. And we're looking for about 5 of those. Out of the 300 or 400 of you in the room, we're looking for 5. And they're the best of the best of the best of the best. And I didn't make the cut. I didn't make the cut to be in the choir. And aside from karaoke, I haven't tried a whole lot of singing since then. Maybe it's a fragile ego. Maybe it's I'm finally learning to know my role. What I do better than anybody thus far is teach people how to tell better stories. I can tell a pretty good story, but I can help you tell better stories than you're telling now. And I don't just mean the ability to deliver them from the stage or on a microphone or on a podcast or in front of a camera. I'm talking about the ability to look in the mirror and tell a different story than you've been telling yourself. See, I have lived those stories. This little book, Live a More Excellent Life, is a collection of stories. What I just told you about dreams and the ones that I've given up on. Those stories are, well, they're real. They're my life. And you probably have similar stories. The question is, how many of those stories do you repeat in your own life until you give up on the dream? Well, that's the role of a leader, is to begin to help you to tell a better story about yourself. To breed that space of invention, of ideas, of dreams, of imagination. To cultivate an environment where dreams and imagination can run wild. Look at places like Google. Granted, there are people who, well, they do a day in the life of someone at Google videos. You see them all over TikTok. And honestly, they're not working at all. I mean, they're doing nothing. They're showing up, getting a paycheck, hiding out in the cafe, hiding out at their desk. They're not producing much of anything. But then there are those who have found that environment of sitting on a beanbag in the middle of the atrium, staring off into space, the place where they imagine new algorithms, the place where they create capabilities that simply didn't exist before. It's time and space like that. It's given the time to think and the space where you can be alone with your thoughts long enough to come to new conclusions that you didn't have before. That's the work of a leader, believe it or not. To make space for people like that, to secure their income and their lifestyle enough for them to be able to say, okay, I'm just going to go imagine and create. Yeah, we need it in the arts. We need it in writing. We need people who can author books and imagine new ways of communicating and imagine new ways of travel and new ways of doing medicine and new ways of taking care of the body and new ways of speaking foreign languages. All of these are capacities that began with a dream, where an imagination first was born and somebody said, I can do that. And someone, a leader probably, because leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less, inspired them, motivated them, believed in them, said, yes, you can do that. And I'm standing behind you to make sure that you have the tools necessary and the opportunity necessary. And I believe in you. I think you can do it. I want to see you do it. Not a leader who's jealous of their success when they pull it off. Not someone who sabotages the rocket before it gets on the launch pad, but someone who looks at the rocket and says, I helped make that happen. All I did was give him time to think. All I did was keep giving him a paycheck when it looked like he was producing nothing. I believed. Honestly, there are a whole lot of projects that our government has funded that have been an absolute flop. All across the board, military projects, medical projects, pharmaceutical projects, rocket projects that we as taxpayers have poured millions, billions of dollars into. And in the end, nothing. Or so it would seem. But how much potential was discovered in the people along the way? How many dreamers came out of that project that created, that innovated, that changed, that transformed our society? Because somebody believed in them long enough to give them a chance to fail. until they could fail enough times to succeed. See, as a leader, you're kind of expected to be a dreamer, an imaginer, a provoker of the people who have dreams. You're expected to be the one who allows innovation to come about, who protects that sometimes fragile ego that says, fine, if you don't like the way I dreamed it, then figure it out yourself. Who'll walk away from a project and say, well, that's what I thought it was going to be, and if that's not what you want, then do it yourself. I quit. See, it's the leader who's got to continue that inspiration, that motivation, that innovation to say, I believe you can do this. It's the dreamer who creates an environment where people can live like children again. And by that I mean they can go back to that place of saying, what if? And believe it long enough to try it. There's a philosophy in the world of self-improvement, psychology, some would call it New Age. The philosophy says, act as if. Act as if. Even though it hasn't yet happened, what if it was true? What if it could happen? What if one day it comes to pass? How differently would you behave if it was true? Right? What if we act like it is true until it becomes true? Does that change us? Oh, absolutely. What if you're single and you begin to act like you're married? I don't mean by treating somebody in a relationship like you have all the privileges of marriage. I mean, what if you became the responsible someone who's compassionately concerned about another person, who's less selfish, less self-focused, less self-absorbed? What if you became that kind of person even before you found the partner that you want to spend the rest of your life with? Would acting as if you're a mature, selfless, giving, compassionate person make the opportunity come sooner? Well, absolutely it will. Because when you become the kind of person worthy of marriage, worthy of launching a rocket, worthy of creating new ideas, worthy of innovating the world, when your character, when your personality, when your imagination fits the size of these new opportunities, things change. Look back on the last episode about being an electromagnet. You are an electromagnet. When you allow your attitude, your energy to focus in the direction of what you have dreamed up, not to take in the negative, pessimistic, hopeless view, but to take in the dreamer's imaginative, innovative, hope-filled view and say, I haven't seen it happen yet, but I really believe that it can. And I'm going to act as if it's already true. And I'm going to live my life like I've already pulled this off. What would happen then? Well, I'll tell you what will happen then. The entire world will conspire with you to make it happen. If you live out the passion of your dreams, if you stop letting people steal them with their negative words and their jealousy, their stupidity, their ignorance, the people who would look at you and go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, they need to carry on with somebody else in their life, not you. And you need to carry on without them in your life. And maybe temporarily until you can get this dream off the ground, or at least give it enough seed and nourishment to blossom, even if it blossoms and becomes an abysmal failure. Don't let negative people tell you not to dream. Don't let negative people tell you you can't do this. You're not the one. You're not capable. You're not worthy. You're not able. You need to stick your fingers in the air and give them some no, I'm not listening to you. Because if the dream has grown up in your heart, if the seed has been planted in your heart, in your mind, in your imagination, it may have no other fertile soil. There may be no place else for that dream to come to light. And it might be that it comes to light and you look at it and go, okay, well, that was dumb, but it has a sibling dream. It has an offspring. Remember Edison said, I didn't find 10,000 failures to get to the light bulb. I found 10,000 other things along the way. 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb, but I invented dozens of other things along the way. Well, what if the dream in you is the spark of something that, when it collides with someone else's dream, becomes something as magnanimous as a privately owned company launching rockets into space. Not a government, an individual. A privately owned company building electric cars. I know they're both publicly traded now, but that was an individual with an idea, with a dream that didn't let the negative relationships, the naysayers, and the disbelievers stop them. Well, what if you could surround yourself with people who would say, I see your dream and I raise you a new idea. What if we also did this? What if they did that together? What if you actually tried it? What if you behaved as if it was true and you failed? Well, maybe you come up with a new idea along the way. Maybe it sparks something even better. Maybe it causes people who are also dreamers and innovators to come around you and go, we need to collaborate. We need the synergy of working together. I don't care what area, what industry, what calling that dream is in. Don't let somebody talk you out of it just because they don't have the capacity to dream. And if you're a leader, I cannot encourage you enough to make space for people in your life, the people you lead, the people you influence, the people you mentor. Make space for them to dream. Make a guarded space for them to dream. Give them permission. Lend them some of your belief. Help to finance their dream. Step in behind them. Fight with them back to make this dream come true. You just might be the catalyst that brings about the greatest change in the world. Because as a leader, it is your job to dream. But even more than that, it is your job to protect the dreamers, to give them hope and inspiration to move forward, because that's where the hope in our societies, our cultures, our world will come from. Dreamers and innovators. Let's not shut them all down in elementary school. Let's find them again and give them hope as we go forward, because they will be the hope of the world. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day and keep dreaming.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.
Thank you.